Hello fans and welcome to day one of the 2019 NJCAA National Championships for swimming and diving. And now heat one of the women's 50-yard breaststroke preliminaries. Swimming in lane one, Taylor Spurgeon, Southwestern Oregon. In lane two, Jalen Estabilio, Southwestern Oregon. Lane three, Elizabeth Schrock, Barton. Lane four, Emily Andrin, Iowa Central. Lane five, Jessalyn Graham, South Georgia State. Lane six, Rachel Singleton, Indian River. Lane seven, Kayla Hennon, Barton. Lane eight, Hong Dang of Herkimer. Touching first with a time of 30:40 from lane number 4, Emily Andrin of Iowa Central. Touching second with a time of 31:04, lane 5, Jessalyn Graham, South Georgia State. Touching third with a time of 31:78, lane 2, Jalen Estabilio of Southwestern Oregon. And now heat two of the women's 50-yard breaststroke preliminaries. Swimming in lane one, Addie Graves, Southwestern Oregon. Lane two, Samantha Karasinski, the Fashion Institute. Lane three, Eliana Kennan, Indian River. Lane four, Savannah Best, Indian River. Lane five, Elizabeth Spitz, Barton. Lane six, Clara Simpson, South Georgia State. Lane seven, Katarina Sherry of Monroe. And swimming in lane eight, Ashley Commons of Iowa Lakes. And touching first with a new NJCAA record time of 28:45 from lane number 4, Savannah Best of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 30.00, lane 5, Elizabeth Spitz of Barton. Touching third with a time of 30.82, lane 3, Eliana Kennan of Indian River. And now this is heat one of the men's 50-yard breaststroke preliminaries. Swimming in lane 1, Juan Braceno, Iowa Lakes. In lane 2, Logan Malecki, Indian River. Lane 3, Rory Smith, Barton. Lane 4, Eric Veit, Indian River. Lane 5, Emerson Zaplatar, Southwestern Oregon. Lane 6, Simon Botten, Barton. And lane 7, Elijah Draper of Barton. Touching first with a time of 25:30 from lane number 4, Eric Veit of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 25:55, lane 5, Emerson Zaplatar, Southwestern Oregon. Touching third with a time of 26:74, lane 3, Rory Smith of Barton. This is heat 2 of the men's 50-yard breaststroke preliminaries. Swimming in lane 1, Brandon Cutter, Genesee. Lane 2, Sean Williams, Barton. Lane 3, Christian Taylor, Barton. Lane 4, Emil Lutzler, Iowa Central. Lane 5, Logan Black, South Georgia State. Lane 6, Alfonso Flores Romero, Iowa Central. Lane 7, Arath Hernandez, Southwestern Oregon. Touching first with a time of 25:46, lane number 4, Emil Lutzler, Iowa Central. Touching second with a time of 26:96, lane number 3, Christian Taylor of Barton. Touching third with a time of 26:99, lane 5, Logan Black of South Georgia State. And now heat 3 of the men's 50-yard breaststroke preliminaries. Swimming in lane 1, Grayson Goodell, Southwestern Oregon. Lane 2, Zachary Roberts, Monroe. Lane 3, Chris Major, South Georgia State. Lane 4, Joshua Stegan, Indian River. Lane 5, Michael Hartshorn, Indian River. Lane 6, Kyle Casara, South Georgia State. And in lane 7, Samuel Cottrell of Monroe. Touching first with a time of 25:90 from lane number 5, Michael Hartshorn of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 26:16, lane number 4, Joshua Stegan, Indian River. Touching third with a time of 26:29 from lane 3, Chris Major of South Georgia State. And now this is heat 2 of the women's 100-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 2, Caroline Noble of Barton. Swimming in lane 3, Samantha Pratt, Monroe. Swimming in lane 4, Alexandra Perez, Indian River. Swimming in lane 5, Mavi Valentin, Iowa Lakes. Swimming in lane 6, Ashley Beecham, Iowa Central. And swimming in lane 7, Sydney Williams of Barton. Touching first with a time of 11:26.05 from lane number 4, Alexandra Perez of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 11:53.20, lane number 3, Samantha Pratt of Monroe. And touching third with a time of 12:02.26, lane number 7, Sydney Williams of Barton. And now this is heat 2 of the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 1, Hunter Sherwood of Southwestern Oregon. In lane 2, Leonard Henri Alaru, Barton. Swimming in lane 3, Noah Ferber, Southwestern Oregon. Swimming in lane 4, Andrew White, South Georgia State. Swimming in lane 5, Cameron Wagner of Monroe. In lane 6, Stephen Smith of South Georgia State. In lane 7, Will Trinnell, Iowa Central. And swimming in lane 8, Brandon Brown of Genesee. Touching first with a time of 10:16.62 from lane number 5, Cameron Wagner of Monroe. Touching second with a time of 10:17.02 from lane number 1, Hunter Sherwood of Southwestern Oregon. And touching third with a time of 10:22.51 from lane 2, Leonard Henri Alaru of Barton. And now this is heat 1 of the women's 200-yard IM preliminaries. Swimming in lane 2, Libby Richardson, Genesee. In lane 3, Natalie Soive, Southwestern Oregon. Lane 4, Cameron Hudson, Indian River. Lane 5, Emily Andrin, Iowa Central. Lane 6, Stephanie Connell of South Georgia State. And in lane 7, Margaret Murray of the Fashion Institute. And now the results for the women's 50-yard breaststroke. Your consolation finalists: Hong Dang, Addie Graves, Ashley Commons, Taylor Spurgeon, Kaylor Hennon, Samantha Karazinski, Clara Simpson, and Katarina Sherry. And the championship finalists in the women's 50-yard breaststroke: Rachel Singleton, Indian River; Elizabeth Schrock, Barton; Jalen Estabilio, Southwestern Oregon; Jesselyn Graham, South Georgia State; Eliana Kennan, Indian River; Emily Andrin, Iowa Central; Elizabeth Spitz, Barton. And your top qualifier with a new NJCAA record time of 28:45 from Indian River, Savannah Best. Coaches, the time is now 10:09. You have 30 minutes to get in your scratches or intent to scratch. Touching first with a time of 2:10.72 from lane 4, Cameron Hudson of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 2:13.41 from lane 5, Emily Andrin, Iowa Central. And touching third with a time of 2:15.25, lane 3, Natalie Soive, Southwestern Oregon. And now this is Heat 2 of the women's 200-yard IM preliminaries. Swimming in lane 2, Andrea Porch of Southwestern Oregon. Lane 3, Abigail Aldridge, South Georgia State. Lane 4, Sully Vandermerway, Indian River. Lane 5, Mary Marshall, Iowa Central. Lane 6, Rachel Singleton of Indian River. And swimming in lane 7, Abigail Fry of Barton. And now the results for the men's 50-yard breaststroke. Second alternate, Samuel Cottrell. First alternate, Erith Hernandez. And your consolation finalist in the men's 50-yard breaststroke, Elijah Draper, Sean Williams, Zachary Roberts, Alfonso Flores Romero, Kyle Casara, Logan Malecki, Simon Botten, and Logan Black. And your championship finalists in the men's 50-yard breaststroke, Christian Taylor, Barton, Rory Smith, Barton, Chris Major, South Georgia State, Joshua Stegan, Indian River, Michael Hartshorn, Indian River, Emerson Zaplatar, Southwestern Oregon, Emil Lutzeler, Iowa Central, and the top qualifier with a time of 25:30 from Indian River, Eric Veit. Coaches, the time is now 10:12. You have 30 minutes to get in your scratches or intent to scratch. Touching first with a time of 2:08.08 from lane number 4, Sule Vandermerway, Indian River. Touching second with a time of 2:13.50, lane 5, Mary Marshall of Iowa Central. And touching third with a time of 2:19.38, lane 3, Abigail Aldridge of South Georgia State. And now this is Heat 3 of the women's 200-yard IM preliminaries. Swimming in lane 2, Liz Cruey Brown, Iowa Lakes. In lane 3, Paula Ronda, Iowa Central. Lane 4, Savannah Best, Indian River. Lane 5, Sophia Diney, Indian River. Lane 6, Gabby Reese, Iowa Lakes. And swimming in lane 7, Lauren Parisi of the Fashion Institute. Touching first with a time of 2:03.64 from lane number 4, Savannah Best of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 2:08.76 from lane 5, Sophia Diney, Indian River. And touching third with a time of 2:13.83, lane number 3, Paula Ronda of Iowa Central. And now this is heat 1 of the men's 200-yard IM preliminaries. Swimming in lane 2, Gabriel Ozan, Barton. Swimming in lane 3, Gabriel Carmona, Iowa Lakes. In lane 4, Christian Nishimura, Indian River. Lane 5, Chris Major, South Georgia State. And swimming in lane 6, Brett Rice of Southwestern Oregon. Touching first with a time of 1:54.89 from lane 4, Christian Nishimura of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 1:58.21 from lane 5, Chris Major of South Georgia State. Touching third with a time of 2:00.23, lane 3, Gabriel Carmona of Iowa Lakes. And now this is heat 2 of the men's 200-yard IM preliminaries. Swimming in lane 2, Gregory Sanders of Monroe. Lane 3, Orion Bopp, South Georgia State. Lane 4, Ollie Williamson, Indian River. Lane 5, Kevin Bargate, Indian River. Lane 6, Simon Barton. And swimming in lane 7, Ethan Heim of Genesee. And now the results for the women's 200-yard IM preliminaries. Second alternate, Margaret Murray. First alternate, Lauren Parisi. Your consolation finalists in the women's 200-yard IM, Abigail Fry, Stephanie Connell, Andrea Porch, Libby Richardson, Liz Cruey-Brown, Rachel Singleton, Gabby Reese, and Abigail Aldridge. Your championship finalists in the women's 200-yard IM, Natalie Soive, Southwestern Oregon, Paula Ronda, Iowa Central, Mary Marshall, Iowa Central, Emily Andren, Iowa Central, Cameron Hudson, Indian River, Sophia Diney, Indian River, Sule Vandermerwe, Indian River, and the top qualifier with a time of 2:03.64, Savannah Best, Indian River. Coaches, the time is now 10:22. You have 30 minutes to get in your scratches or intent to scratch. Touching first with a time of 1:50.02 from lane 4, Ollie Williamson of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 1:56.59, lane 5, Kevin Bargate of Indian River. And touching third with a time of 1:57.66 from lane 3, Orion Bopp of South Georgia State. And now this is heat 3 of the men's 200-yard IM preliminaries. Swimming in lane 2, Elliot Stewart, Southwestern Oregon. In lane 3, Mariano Sosa, Iowa Central. Lane 4, Jared Baxter, Indian River. Lane 5, Tucker Adams, Indian River. Lane 6, Farron Martinez of Genesee. And swimming in lane 7, Mason Teagle of Southwestern Oregon. Touching first with a time of 1:54.35 from lane number 4, Jared Baxter of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 1:54.67, lane 5, Tucker Adams, Indian River. And touching third with a time of 1:55.82, lane 3, Mariano Sosa of Iowa Central. And now heat 1 of the women's 50-yard freestyle preliminaries. One, Haley Robley, Erie. 2, Lauren Adamson, Southwestern Oregon. 3, Aubrey Larenards, South Georgia State. 4, Elizabeth Watts, Indian River. 5, Michaela Seamiller, Barton. 6, Courtney Sapp, Indian River. And lane 7, Alexandra Bullock, Fashion Institute. Touching first with a time of 23:72, lane 4, Elizabeth Watts of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 24:20, lane 5, Michaela Seamiller, Barton. Touching third with a time of 24:88, lane 6, Courtney Sapp of Indian River. And now heat 2 of the women's 50-yard freestyle preliminaries. Lane 1, Emily DeClerc, Monroe. Lane 2, Megan Harrell, South Georgia State. Lane 3, Caitlin Hester, Southwestern Oregon. Lane 4, Cameron Wheels, Indian River. Lane 5, Jessalyn Graham, South Georgia State. And swimming in lane 6, Regan Smith, Barton. Touching first with a time of 23:62, lane 4, Cameron Wheels, Indian River. Touching second with a time of 24:35, lane 6, Regan Smith, Barton. And touching third with a time of 24:74, lane 5, Jessalyn Graham, South Georgia State. This is heat 3 of the women's 50-yard freestyle preliminaries. Lane 1, Sarah Childs, Barton. Lane 2, Amanda Mashia, Herkimer. Lane 3, Kenzie Green, Indian River. Lane 4, Eliana Kennan, Indian River. Lane 5, Emma Colvin, Indian River. Lane 6, Zoe Beals, Iowa Central. Lane 7, Katarina Sherry, Monroe. And in lane 8, Addie Graves of Southwestern Oregon. Touching first with a time of 23:35 from lane 4, Eliana Kennan of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 23:70, lane 5, Emma Colvin of Indian River. Touching third with a time of 24:49, lane 3, Kenzie Green of Indian River. And now heat 1 of the men's 50-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 3, David Howard, Erie. Lane 4, Romeo Ortiz, Queensboro. Lane 5, Zach Strom of Iowa Central. Touching first with a time of 24:61 from lane 5, Zach Strom, Iowa Central. Touching second with a time of 25:70, lane 4, Romeo Ortiz, Queensboro. And touching third with a time of 26:08, David Howard, Erie. And now heat 2 of the men's 50-yard freestyle. Lane 1, Jordan McGurk, Southwestern Oregon. Lane 2, Evan Fix, Genesee. Lane 3, R.F. Hernandez, Southwestern Oregon. 4, Parker Stone, Monroe. 5, Ryan Mahaney, Genesee. 6, Rylan Rogers, Southwestern Oregon. And lane 7, Dominic Bob, Erie. Touching first with a time of 22:47, lane 4, Parker Stone of Monroe. Touching second with a time of 22:56, lane 7, Dominic Bubb, Erie. Touching third with a time of 22:74, lane 5, Ryan Mahaney, Genesee. This is heat 3 of the men's 50-yard freestyle preliminaries. Lane 1, Elijah Draper, Barton. 2, Noah Childs, Barton. 3, Vincent Fletcher, Iowa Central. 4, Jared Ingram, Indian River. 5, Emil Lutzler, Iowa Central. 6, William Spitz, Barton. 7, Andrew Oberg, Iowa Central. And in lane 8, Eric Weiser, Iowa Central. Touching first with a time of 20:30 from lane 4, Jared Ingram, Indian River. Touching second with a time of 20:52, lane 5, Emil Lutzler, Iowa Central. And touching third with a time of 21:39, lane 3, Vincent Fletcher, Iowa Central. This is heat 4 of the men's 50-yard freestyle preliminaries. Lane 1, Garrett Nielsen, Iowa Lakes. 2, John Gill III, Iowa Central. 3, David Garcia, Barton. 4, Ryan Van Wyck, Indian River. 5, James Camp, Southwestern Oregon. 6, Wyatt Dalton, South Georgia State. 7, Marco Alvarez Sanchez, Barton. 8, Sean Mahaney, Monroe. Touching first with a time of 20:00, lane 4, Ryan Van Wyck, Indian River. Touching second with a time of 20:28, lane 5, James Camp of Southwestern Oregon. And touching third with a time of 20:74, lane 3, David Garcia of Barton. And now heat 5 of the men's 50-yard freestyle preliminaries. One, Jonathan Pilot, Erie. 2, Isaac Panzer, Barton. 3, Jackson Bloom, South Georgia State. 4, Ruben Van Leeuwen, Indian River. 5, Eric Veit, Indian River. 6, Caleb Gaylor, Iowa Central. 7, Landon Stallknocker, Southwestern Oregon. 8, Carlito Sanchez, Genesee. Touching first with a time of 20:08, lane number 4, Ruben Van Leeuwen of Indian River. Touching second with a time of 20:61, lane 5, Eric Veit of Indian River. And touching third with a time of 21:29 from lane 6, Caleb Gaylor of Iowa Central. And now this is Heat 3 of the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 3, Alex Clifford of Erie. Swimming in lane 4, Paula Noriega Rivera of Barton. And swimming in lane 5, Ashley Henwood of Barton. Now the results for the men's 200-yard IM. Alternate swimmer Ethan Heim. And consolation finalists, Gabrielle Ozon, Mason Teagle, Gregory Sanders, Elliot Stewart, Brett Rice, Gabriel Carmona, Farron Martinez, and Simon Botten. The championship finalist in the men's 200-yard IM, Chris Major, South Georgia State, Orion Bopp, South Georgia State, Kevin Bargate, Indian River, Mariano Sosa, Iowa Central, Christian Nishimura, Indian River, Tucker Adams, Indian River, Jared Baxter, Indian River, and the top qualifier in the men's 200-yard IM with a preliminary time of 1:50.02 from Indian River, Ollie Williamson. Coaches, the time is now 10:38. You have 30 minutes to get in your scratches or intent to scratch. Here are the results for the women's 50-yard freestyle. At this time, with the coaches for the Fashion Institute and Barton, please come to the greenhouse. Coaches from Fashion Institute and Barton, please come to the greenhouse. Now the results for the men's 50-yard freestyle. Second alternate, Jackson Bloom. First alternate, Wyatt Dalton. The consolation finalists in the men's 50-yard freestyle, Eric Weiser, Jonathan Pilot, Isaac Panzer, William Spitz, John Gill III, Vincent Fletcher, Landon Stallknocker, and Caleb Gaylor. The championship finalist in the men's 50-yard freestyle, Marco Alvarez Sanchez, Barton. David Garcia, Barton. Eric Veit, Indian River. Emil Lutzler, Iowa Central. Jared Ingram, Indian River. James Camp, Southwestern Oregon. Ruben Van Leeuwen, Indian River. And the top qualifier in the men's 50-yard freestyle with a time of 20.00 from Indian River, Ryan Van Wyck. Coaches, the time is now 10:43. You have 30 minutes to get in your scratches or intent to scratch. Now the results for the women's 50-yard freestyle. For the first alternate position, there will be a swim-off after the 1,000-yard freestyle. That swim-off will take place between Sarah Childs of Barton and Alexandra Bullock of the Fashion Institute. Consolation finalists for the women's 50-yard freestyle, Emily DeClercq, Lauren Adamson, Aubrey Leonards, Caitlin Hester, Amanda Mashia, Megan Harrell, Zoe Beals, and Courtney Sapp. The championship finalist in the women's 50-yard freestyle, Jessalyn Graham, South Georgia State, Kenzie Green, Indian River, Regan Smith, Barton, Michaela Seimiller, Barton, Elizabeth Watts, Indian River, Emma Colvin, Indian River, Cameron Wheels, Indian River, and the top qualifier in the women's 50-yard freestyle with a preliminary time of 23:35 from Indian River, Eliana Kennan. Coaches, the time is now 10:45. You have 30 minutes to get in your scratches or intent to scratch. Touching first with a time of 12:58.29 from lane 3, Alex Clifford of Erie. Touching second with a time of 13:02.23, lane 4, Paula Noriega Rivera of Barton. And touching third with a time of 13:20.26, lane 5, Ashley Henwood of Barton. And now this is heat 3 of the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 2, Evan Napper of Monroe. In lane 3, Matthew Bell, Southwestern Oregon. In lane 4, Tyler Stakowiak, Genesee. In lane 5, Weston Head, Genesee. Lane 6, Dylan Wolf, Erie. And swimming in lane 7, Jake Wire, Southwestern Oregon. Touching first with a time of 10:24.45 from lane number 4, Tyler Stakowiak of Genesee. Touching second with a time of 10:49.25, lane 3, Matthew Bell of Southwestern Oregon. And touching third with a time of 11:02.82 from lane 2, Evan Napper of Monroe. Now this is heat 4 of the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 3, Asa Unruh Barton. In lane 4, Kaya Ingram, Southwestern Oregon. And in lane 5, Grayson Goodell of Southwestern Oregon. Touching first with a time of 11:41.76 from lane number 3, Asa Unruh of Barton. Touching second with a time of 11:42.10 from lane 5, Grayson Goodale of Southwestern Oregon. Touching third with a time of 11:49.55, lane 4, Kaya Ingraham, Southwestern Oregon. As mentioned previously, at this time we will now have a swim-off for the women's 50-yard freestyle. This is for the first alternate position. Swimming in lane 4 is Sarah Childs of Barton. And in lane 5, Alexandra Bullock of the Fashion Institute. The time for Sarah Childs of Barton, 26:48. The time for Alexandra Bullock of the Fashion Institute, 26:79. This completes day 1 of the swimming portion of preliminaries. Men's 3-meter dive will take place shortly.